Welcome back to True Print for Life. I'm your host, Christina Vera.
And I'm your co-host, Maylin Sambois. Oh my goodness, welcome back. We're so excited. Like always, we bring you the best of the best, and we're very excited about our special guest that we have today. I'm going to read a little bit about her bio, but this is just really surface of the amazing person that she is. So, today with us, we have Jessi. She's a speaker focused on personal and professional development shaped by real-life experience. With over a decade of navigating high-pressure environments and hard seasons, she delivers a raw, practical message about resilience, growth, and choosing better patterns, especially when you have been your own toughest critic. A key part of her work centers on emotional intelligence, recognizing what's driving you, regulating your response, communicating with clarity, and building stronger relationships in every room you walk into. She also speaks on the difference in how real presence comes from confidence, self-awareness, and respect, not volume or control. Her talks challenge people to break out of survival mode, rewrite their story they keep repeating, and lead their life with intention, confidence, and grit. She's a safety director from Thompson Concrete, and she's been doing safety for over 10 years. Welcome, Jessi.
Thank you.
So your bio is amazing.
And it's a little
GPT.
I was like, wow, let me write some of this down. I mean, she's done so many amazing things. And we always love to find just like women who are out here killing it in so many different ways, like experts. And so today's conversation will be nothing short of that. So welcome, Jessi. We're excited to have you. And so just to jump right in, I know Maylin gave us just a high overview of your background, but would love to just dive a little deeper and share more about maybe like your, where you're from and kind of how you ended. Well, I definitely want to talk about how you ended up in construction, but certainly we'll get to that. So just a little bit more about like who you are and your work and the things you've been doing professionally for the past however many years.
Sure. Well, my name is Jessi Marcincavage, and I am from Newcomerstown, Ohio. So not anywhere near Columbus. In my previous life, I did journalism. So I was on the radio, did TV, newspaper. That's truly my passion. And that has kind of gotten me and helped me to get to where I am today. Speaking in front of people, does not scare me at all. I'm used to that. I'm used to speaking off of a whim, which also helps to motivate and influence, other people too, whether it's my profession in safety or whether it's me helping women to level up, to move past trauma affecting the workplace, move through that. It's just amazing how, when you first started your careers, it's not what you're doing today for a lot of people. But mine is just craziness because everything that I've done so far has been on purpose to get me to where I am today, and it all plays a part. So it's been really exciting, and so is my previous life. I ended up having to switch careers because as a young single mom, it didn't pay the bills. And oil and gas was coming in to the area really hot and heavy back then. And I wanted to get on the bandwagon to make that money. And I finally got my chance, got my in, because you had to really know somebody to get in there. So I got my in, and I started off doing payroll and also HR. Started off in there. And then the district started, in oil and gas, that district started downsizing with layoffs and everything. And so they had to have like a DOT person and also a safety person, because in oil and gas, that's very, very important. They take safety and DOT very seriously. And back then I was always the only female in everything. And so for them to allow me to be able to even get the training or anything to be a safety person or a DOT person was a big deal back then. So in that They agreed. I think they finally got tired of me nagging them. Like, just give me a chance. Like, I know I can do this. I know I can do this. And if I can't, at least you gave me the opportunity to do so. Because as a woman, that's all I want. I just want a chance. If I can't do it, I can't do it. But I at least want the opportunity to be able to do it. And so got the training and everything, started doing safety and DOT. And again, in all the trainings and all the meetings, I was normally the only female in the room. And I was the only female safety person that I knew of in like the tri-state area. There might have been some others, but we just never crossed paths. So to truly be like out on site and out on the pad. And so, you had to go through a lot of stuff back then. And got into oil and gas, got into the pipeline and excavation, and then got into Columbus and into construction. And that is where I am now the safety director for Thompson Concrete, for the umbrella. And we have several companies, and I have been there for 4 years.
Wow. That's amazing. I'm like, I have so many things.
We could be here all day.
Right. Yes, and I'm going to address that later. But you said everything that caught my attention, right, was everything you've been doing prepare you for this moment. And I think many times we're going through certain moments in our life and experiences, and we're like, this is the worst job ever. This person is horrible. When did you realize that everything you were going through was preparing you for this moment? Was there a time back then that you had some realization, or just kind of happened last week?
I just knew. And it doesn't come with sacrifice. Do you know what I mean? I was a single mom, and, sacrifices had to be made if I wanted to be able to provide a good life for my kid, for my son. And so I knew if I just did this, then it would get me here. And if I just did this, it would get me there. And if I just did this, it would get me there. Like, I knew that if I just kept pushing forward, if I just kept trying, if I kept meeting people, if I kept learning, if I kept, doing everything that I could, that it would happen. But I also have learned throughout the years that doing all the time isn't healthy either. That we also have to just be and let it be and just trust the process. Because a lot of times we do try to control and we do try to force things to happen. And we get so caught up too on if it doesn't happen, and that rejection is like, I'm not good enough, I'm a failure, I'm whatever the story you're telling yourself in your head. When I say rejection is protection, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't meant to be there. And that's how I look at everything right now. But I'm also like trying to tell people too, like, we can do all that we want, but we also have to be too. There has to be that balance. Or we're going to get exhausted, or we're going to get because again, we're women. We're taking care of families. We're taking care of our kids and our families, and then we got work and we got all this other stuff. We may have our community, the things that we're involved in, and it can just be too much. And it is okay to just be.
Can you go a little bit further, because I hear be versus doing, right? How can you talk to me a little bit more about how you be versus doing? How are you walking that in your life? What does that look like for you?
Stepping back and just observing and listening. Even in my career, when I first got to Thompson, you want to make change. And I feel like that's my purpose in life, is to help people make change. And to make change, we got to do this, we got to do that, and we got to do this, and then it's just steps in making good things happen, right? But a couple years in, I'm like, okay, I really need to step back, just observe, and listen, and just really listen to what is really needed, and just trust the process. You put the work in. But again, when we try to make that control or force things to happen, it's not going to happen in the way we think it's going to happen. And that is the era I am living in right now. You have this idea in your head, and then, sometimes you just feel like, gosh, I'm doing all of this for nothing and I'm not getting anywhere, and you just want to give up. But I mean, it's insane for the stuff we're going to talk about here later. like I'm in that era. What I thought what my life was going to look like as a possible, just like a positive influence or a mentor, or just sharing my stories to let people know that, there is another way. There is a better way out there. We just have to take that first step. And how I thought that was going to look is totally different than what's looking like today. But it's the same message. It's the same purpose.
I love that. And I think you said a few things that I definitely would love to, kind of get your additional thoughts and feedback on. Because a lot of even what you're describing to me, part of it sounds like confidence. Part of it sounds like that self, like it's almost like a discipline, And so hearing you, what does that look like for you on the days that you, as you just kind of indicated, where you're like questioning so many different decisions? Is this making sense? Am I making an impact? Am I just running in circles? It's like, what does that look like for you in terms of like, how do you reset when you start to feel, even though, because for many folks that do have the ability to be confident and self-disciplined, they obviously have those moments where they're like, a little bit outside of that realm. What does that look like for you to kind of reset yourself back into that headspace, back into, those disciplines that you've already kind of outlined?
I was at the doctor's office the other day, and this woman doesn't even know me, and she's just like, you're such a strong person. I don't even remember what we were talking about. She's like, you're just such a strong woman. Like when you walk in, it's the presence, it's the everything, it's how you carry yourself. But like I told her, just because this is the version you're seeing of me today doesn't mean that's who I was. Do you know what I mean? Like I went through the pits of hell to get to where I am today, like a lot of women have. And everybody has a story to tell. And I truly feel like we go through this story and these traumas in our life, and our purpose is to let people know that to rely on faith and to know it's going to be okay. It is going to be okay. You got this. And that's all I wanted, was somebody when I was going through my trials and tribulations was, you got this. Like, you got this, Jess. You're going to be okay. You got this. Just keep moving forward. And I think that is kind of like, to answer your question, is it's everything I've gone through in life. If I don't keep going, then I went through all of that for nothing. Do you know what I mean? If even though people may not resonate with me, even though I may be off cuff sometimes, even though I can be rough around the edges sometimes, nobody is perfect. And even though like we're talking about emotional intelligence and things like that, doesn't mean like I have all my shit together, because I don't. Nobody does.
Right.
Everybody's still trying to figure it out in their own way and their own life and how that looks like. So also too, like how you reset's also giving yourself grace. Do you know what I mean? And giving yourself grace and knowing that like, okay, I need to take a step back. I had a rough week last week, and I said like I slept a lot. That's how I get my brain to calm down some, and I can like re-regulate. But also like, meditation helps. If I don't listen to podcasts every day, if I don't listen to audiobooks every day, or listen to a level of hertz of music every day, I revert back to being the old Jessi, It's an all day, every day thing to be healing. It's an all day, every day thing to be on this journey. Doesn't mean there's an end. Like, it's a journey. And it'll be till the day I die. And we have to remember, like, this is not short term, this is long term. And we just have to, again, people have different things that work for them. Do you know what I mean? As far as how they deregulate, there's people that have kids and they have little ones, and they may not be able to do it like I can now, since, our kids are out of the house now and we're in a different stage of life. But I was there before too. But it's finding that one thing that actually works. And it could be overwhelming in itself too. Because if you listen to everybody, they have all these suggestions, and it can be so overwhelming on how to bring you back to center, how to keep you grounded. And it's just, again, finding those couple of things that work for you. What works for me is listening to self-development podcasts all day, every day when I'm driving. the music I listen to, the audiobooks I listen to. And then, like I really believe, you can fix your brain and rewire your brain to fully go back to what it was before the trauma started. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that is through different levels of hertz of music. Mm-hmm. And that's what I also listen to as well. And that is what has helped me. And some people can believe it, some people don't have to, but that is what has worked for me.
What is hertz of music?
So like the level of hertz. So you have like 144. It's like the pitch.
Okay.
I'd say pitch would probably be it to further define it. But like you can get on Chat GPT, or you can get on, there's so many things on YouTube. I get on Calm, the app Calm. That's where I have it from. But there's different level of hertz of music that affects the brain waves in a certain way. And that's what has helped me.
That's what we need to get a copy of what you're listening to, so we can share with the audience.
Yeah,
and me.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and that's what helps me. And again, it's it could be the placebo effect or whatever, but I truly believe that's what has also helped me in rewiring my brain and not telling myself those stories and not taking me back to that place and just keep pushing forward, because we are our own worst enemies.
I have a thing to follow up with that. You said the stories. So the stories come up. The voices come up, right? Whatever that is. Do you have something that you say to yourself when you start hearing the stories of reverting back or those lies that come up? Is there a mantra you got?
I don't got a mantra, but I call it a name. Like, shut up, Sheila. You know what I mean? Like, if you call it a name, it's a little bit easier to identify and control your thoughts more, because you don't want your emotions and your thoughts controlling you. And that's what happens. And that's then how it spills out into the workplace. Even though we think we got our shit together and that's well hidden and everything else, it still will show up. And,
so her name is Sheila? Your stories are Sheila?
Shut up, Sheila. Be like, it's like playing tennis. When I tell people, it's like, it's going to tell you something because your brain's always going to go to the negative because it's primal, it's going to be like, that tiger is going to chase you, that fear, So, hey, you're an idiot. Like what you're saying right now is so stupid. No one's going to understand you. No one's going to, everybody's going to laugh at you on this podcast. You're like, shut up, Sheila. Like, I don't care anymore, because in 2026, like I'm going to live this is my life of being uncomfortable. Like I want to start my own podcast, and thank you guys for having me on yours. This is my first podcast ever, so I greatly appreciate the invite. And, but again, this year I am living in my uncomfortable, all the fears and everything else, because of all the stories I tell myself. I'm doing it regardless of what other people's opinions are on how I should be or anything else. This is my story. This is my mission, and this is my purpose. And I got shit to say. So we're going to get it out there.
I love that. I love everything you just said. And I think that season of when you get to that awakening to where like you're going to just live your life and you're not going to be so worried about what other people have to say or do. And I can't wait for people to get to that space, because everybody gets to that space differently. Thinking back to our younger selves when we were in teenagers or adolescents or even early 20s or 30s. And I agree with you. I think I'm definitely at that season now myself, where I'm not chasing folks. I'm not chasing, relationships that were not really good for me in any personally or professionally. And when you get to a place of just like really knowing who you are and knowing the type of life you want to live and how you want to live it, and really being intentional around the people you want to call like your village or to be a part of that kind of awakening or this new kind of space, it's such a powerful thing. And then you just suddenly are just like very locked in. Like right now, I feel like most people that I've been speaking with are like, I'm very locked in. And it's sounding like you are also very locked in, even though you are mentioning being uncomfortable, like that is a part of growth.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that has helped me this year was who do I want to be? Do you know what I mean? And I also think that we also downplay a lot of influence we have in our life from our parents' beliefs, conditioned beliefs, our culture, our religion, everything else, and what is truly Jessi? Do you mean? And what does truly Jessi want that hasn't been influenced or a seed planted in my head by anybody else on what and how my life should be? And that has really been my journey this year, is who do I want to show up as? And every day I try to be that version of myself that I see and show up. And then again, progress over perfection, right? Small steps. Nothing's going to happen overnight. I mean, like, I've been on this path for like 10 years. And it's still growing. Nothing. I think everybody wants that immediate gratification too. Do you know what I mean? And you got to put your work in. And that's the thing. When you have a job that you don't like and everything else, sometimes you just have to put your time in. Do you know what I mean? To put your time in to get you to that next step.
Absolutely. And for people that are questioning like where they are and it's taking so long, right? I think it takes a different amount of time for different people. For if you have a business, it takes years. We usually hear that the 10-year mark is when like things start to finally happen and you become an overnight success for people because they just heard about you, but you've been working on this for 10, 20 years. Right. And it's the same thing, I think, for us as women when we are leading a job or a business, and people are like, oh my gosh, they're doing so great. They just became this. Like, no. I've been trying to heal myself for the past 20 years. This has been a healing journey. This version you see of me is a work in progress. So for those of you listening and trying to like frustrated with yourself with the amount of progress that you're making or how long it's taking, I think God's time is perfect. And his time for you is different than the time for each one of us. I feel like we're all in different stages in our lives and facing different things. Don't be too hard on yourself. I feel like when we bring amazing women to this podcast, it's with the idea that you listen to something that, it may not be your way, but if you hear something, it's almost like a buffet. Take what works for you, try it, apply it, and see how it works. And if it doesn't, at least you try it, then you find something else. And that's very important for us, for people to kind of walk away with. But Jessi, you have an incredible story of how you even got to this. We talk about the safety, but who you are as a woman. And there's a lot of women listening right now that I know, or men, right? Men, this can happen to men too, that are in a very messed up situation and they just don't know how to get out. They don't see a way out. You were in a hell situation and you got out. Can you give us some tips of what helped you get out?
Trusting resources is what helped me. I didn't get you think the first round of resources would have worked, and they didn't. And just not giving up. There is somebody out there that will help you make it happen. You have to keep looking. You have to keep trying. You have to keep calling for help. You have to. You cannot give up. You cannot give up.
When you say the first round of resources, and I don't want to name names, organizations, and things like that, but that's one of the things that worries us as we recommend folks that we support to certain places and they don't get the support that they need to kind of get out of those things. What didn't work about that first round of resource?
Sure. So with, let's say, the police departments, do you know what I mean? Even though they should be up to trained well with domestic violence and sexual assault, doesn't mean that they are. And sometimes your perpetrator can speak a good game and then you look like the crazy one. You look like you're the one who created all of that. And that is what happened to me. Because he was a previous police officer, so he knew exactly what to say and everything. And it made me look like I was crazy. And back then, little do I know that it is perfectly fine still legal for your husband to rape you. Do you know what I mean? Even if you're getting divorced, it's still legal. And that is the hard part that I had in navigating through my situation was I kept asking for help. And I'm like, this is what's happening to me. And there was nothing they could do because at that time it was still legal. I'm not sure if it's still legal today. I believe it is. But back then, and then when when I talked to another department, because I had to move for my safety, for me and my son's safety. When we moved, I was in a different area, let's put it that way. And when I talked to them, that's what they said. You know, like if it was your boyfriend, like that's a whole nother ballgame. But when it's your husband, it's something different. And it was a very scary time. But I was not going to lose. I was not going to. And I finally, I made the right calls. Somebody finally, I talked to the right attorney, because the first attorney I talked to was like, just split assets or whatever. And I'm like, my life is being threatened. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of stuff was happening at that time with him. So, and I didn't have the funds, to file for a divorce or file for a restraining order. But through an angel, I was able to get the funds, and I owed that person my life. And I was able to get a restraining order once I told them everything that was happening. And, it still affects me today. And I will definitely tell you, from my previous traumas, just from that, I did seek counseling and everything else. And if you are somebody who has been sexually assaulted, that's a different kind of therapy that you need. And I really suggest that you get it. It's not the same as domestic violence. It's not the same as other therapies. That takes your soul, in my opinion. So, and those are my personal experiences and everything else. I'm sure other people will have other things to say, and that's okay. But from my experiences, that's a whole nother type of therapy that's needed.
It's more specialized, right? Like that's why they say, you have to be like trauma-informed. It's a special type of therapy you have to get through, because not every therapy or every situation is the same. So with that type of cases, which I'm so grateful that you survive and thrive after that, that's amazing. And for those of you who are listening, it is possible, right? Like it may not feel like that at the moment, but I want you to hear like from someone that really struggled but came out on the other side and is here killing the game and is inspiring so many people and is doing wonderful things and hosts conferences and more. You're going to learn more about that in a minute, but you can still get out. There's still hope. Don't give out the hope. And then also finding that angel, right? So when you talk about somebody came through, like so important, sometimes we don't know like the impact we're making. Like that made me think of so many things. I'm like, why organizations are helping with this? Why organizations are giving this funding that people need to get out of those horrible situations? Because it sometimes it's just as little as $1,000 that could really save somebody's life. And you don't even think about that. So for those of you that are in this line of work, if you have resources, share with us, because I think we would love to share that with other people that we encounter, because we want to help as much as we can. Well, we're not experts in the game, but if you are looking for something therapy-wise, you know what you've been through. Ensure that you find someone that has experience with that trauma, because then you can really get the help that you need. That's what I'm walking away with from that statement.
Absolutely. And you can't receive if you don't ask. A lot of people, pride and ego, we get embarrassed. Because a lot of people don't even know that happened to me. And people who know me from my past are like, how did you even let that happen? Because people see Jessi today. Do you know what I mean? Like, how'd you even let that happen? Because, I'm a badass. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, try to hurt me or blah, blah, blah. Like, but I'm not the same person as I was back then. Do you know what I mean? And this guy, he was good. Everybody loved him. I thought I was going crazy, and everybody's like, oh no, like he loves you. Like, and what he would do in front of people versus home would be totally different. And he was great until we got married. And when we got married, that switch flipped literally the next day. And I was terrorized almost literally every day until I was able to get out. And, and that's a whole nother episode we could actually be on. But my thing is just don't give up. Like keep trying. And it is scary because it could have went the other way. And I will tell you, like I was watching TV one night prior to me leaving, and it was one of those like homicide shows or whatever. And one of the detectives on there was like, when someone dies, we can tell that they knew it was going to happen. And I was like, that's going to be me if I don't get out of here.
That was your warning.
That was my warning. And I'm not going to say it was scary. It was very, very scary. And it's not like my family didn't know what was going on either. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't like I had this army of people to come save me. And, but I just kept trying. I kept moving forward. I kept trying to figure out how to get me out of this situation.
And you did, and you saved yourself.
Yes, and your son.
Yes, absolutely. And you've committed, all these years to really building up women, and even in the work that you're doing, both professionally and then, personally, is all rooted in helping to build up women, helping to build up generations of women and leaders in general. And I mean, even the industry that you're in, we talk a lot with the young girls that we mentor about being open-minded to other career paths. Maybe even if it's a lack of female representation, like there is a pathway, certainly, especially in the trades and construction. And so I love that, everything you shared really has been built on, who you are and at your core values. And you were not going to allow that situation to be your story, to be a part of it, but it wasn't going to define who you are. And what you've been able to do professionally, I think, is incredible, especially at a time where, as we continue to see all this economic development, especially here in Central Ohio, where, every corner almost there's a construction project going on. And oftentimes I will look over to see, like, how many women can I spot in these industries? And if you don't mind even just sharing, what that journey has been like for you with everything you've gone through and experienced, and how you've taken that as an armor to be able to build up others, especially in a male-dominated industry like construction.
Yeah, I mean, my guys at work are great. You know what I mean? And you got to find a company where you align with their values. Do you know what I mean? And the work culture that is there. If you work for a crappy company, it's probably not going to go so well. You got to do your research, find a company that's going to, that you align with. And if now is the time for opportunities. Do you know what I mean? Like in the unions, I know that, they have women organizations inside the unions, wanting more women in the trades. And if it's something you're interested in, like when there's a will, like there's a way, like you got to want it though. Do you know what I mean? It's hard work. And, it takes a lot of building that faith and trust with everybody. And that's when I came in. I came in just to build that faith and the trust with the team. Do you know what I mean? Before I even started making any change, because that was truly what was important. You got to build that foundation. Just like what is with any relationship. You got to have that trust and respect. You can't come in all cocky, and you can't play the victim all the time. And, a lot of women contribute to the situation too. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not all one-sided, and we have to see, how are we showing up? How are we portraying ourselves? How are we contributing to this situation? But I mean, my advice to them is, if you want to go to these companies, see if they're hiring, and give you an opportunity. You have to sometimes fight for it and get them to believe in you as you believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And you said something, I wrote it down, give me an opportunity, which I think a lot of times, right, you try once, they say no, you're like, well, they didn't want me, but you kept trying. So how many times did they say, no, Jessi, stop it, this is not for you? You're like, and you come back. Like how many times, and was there like a little bit of gap time in between those times that you went back to ask for the opportunity?
In the beginning, like, it was like begging, like, please just let me get this opportunity. Do you know what I mean? Because it would provide a better life for my son too. Do you know what I mean? So, please just give me this shot. If I can't do it, then, we tried. And they had to have the position anyways. So why not, let me try? And never did I know back then today that I would be a safety director. Do you know what I mean? For an umbrella company in construction. It's just amazing like how things all come together. You are put where you're meant to be, and and that's for both sides. Like I get a lot of blessing and value out of my team and vice versa at Thompson. And again, you just have to find that place where you align with and do your homework on. But I guess I just had to keep pushing forward. And I always ended up in opportunities would come to me too. But I was also opening myself to those opportunities as well. If I keep thinking that, gosh, no one's going to hire me, my life is shit, I can't do anything, I'm not able to do this, and I keep throwing that out there, you're going to get that back 100%. So, the book, The Secret, is what really started changing my mindset on what you put out, you get back. And I started changing the energy and the energy that I bring when I show up into a room. And that's also like how you're responsible for the energy you bring into a room. 100% you are. And that's how I come in and enter rooms. Now, am I on my game all the time? No, we all have bad days. But it's also too, again, like how you're showing up. If that's what you're saying in yourself, then that's what you're getting back. And those are the opportunities you're getting back. Nothing. You're getting back nothing because you're saying that you're not going to get it. And so it's not going to come back. And so again, like what you put out there is so important, so important. And expressing gratitude too. You may not even think you have anything, but you have something to be thankful for. And gratitude was that first step that helped pivot my whole healing journey from everything. Was just gratitude of even just the littlest things, and just being thankful. Just being thankful that you're here in this moment right now.
Yes. Thank you. So talking about opportunities, and if you are looking for how to get into construction, if you are trying to figure out what these women are all about, Jessi has an amazing opportunity coming up that she has created with her group. So can you tell us a little bit about your group, the Amazing Women's Group that you run, and then what's coming up for people to join us?
Yeah. So again, like in this crazy era that I'm in right now, how I thought it was going to look, I even did a vision board, and like 5 years ago. And like everything is happening right now. It's looking different, but it's still happening as I wanted it to or thought it should, but it just looks different. And so when I first got to Columbus about 4 years ago, in oil and gas, I didn't know anything about Women in Construction Week or anything else, which is the first week in March. And so it was a thing in Columbus, and Thompson and Holder Construction got together and put on their first event. We had like 30 people come, and just something to get together just to celebrate women and create that community, because I'm still trying to find my tribe. And so I'm like, forget waiting on people. I'm going to create my tribe. And that's what I'm trying to do through this. And I know there's people like me that are out there that just want to belong in a non-judgmental, space that's safe to be able to be exactly who you are. And so the second year we had 100 people come. The third year we had it last year, we had over 200 people come. So now we know like it's a thing, like it's a need, and we found this. And so we started calling ourselves She Trades Collective. So we're actually going to become like a group, and we hold this event. It is March 4th. And this year every year we do a different venue. So this year it's going to be at the Columbus Zoo, and it is going to be at the Africa venue. And we have a conference from 1 until 4. And then also the mixer starts from 5 until 7. And the event is free, and we have vendors that come, food, cash bar, things of that nature. It's a whole big event, like it's a big thing. And we just want to celebrate women, and we want their allies to come too, because it's not men versus women or anything else like that. Like, we're all in this together. Like, we're all on the same team. And I think that's what helps me is it's not safety against operations or, men against women or anything else. Like, it's a team. We're on the same track, we're on the same mission. And so super excited. And I just found out, like, so far my numbers right now for the conference is I have 134 people coming to the conference. And my goal was just 50 because it's the first time we're doing this conference. So I was like, 50 people would be good. So I am just like, thank you guys for everybody who has RSVP'd. It's such a blessing. And I just, again, like how we're here today with the She Trades Collective and being able to have this channel, this outlet to be able to help so many people. And I just didn't want to do like fun stuff this year. That is fun, but we have an opportunity to create change and to create change in people's lives, and also to know that they're not alone and they do have support, and that we are here for them. And I think that's so important right now.
Yes, and I had the honor of meeting many of your women.
Yes.
In Lancaster a couple of weeks ago, and they are super genuine.
Yes.
I even had
love them.
A mom that brought her little baby who was super grateful for the group, and it really warmed my heart to know, like, when you have a kid, you're like so lost, and you just sometimes don't know what's going on, even if you can come back to your job. And she had recently lost her job too, and you guys were helping her. So I just thought the community that you're building is so beautiful, and then that place where women feel sometimes like they don't have a voice or they don't feel supported, to have a group of women so strong, because they were bold women. I walked in, I said, yes, this is amazing. So I want to congratulate you for what you're doing.
Yeah, I couldn't do it without them. They're amazing, and they all have their passions and purposes. And that is what this group is for everybody to live out their passion or their purpose through this through this network, because if we can sprinkle that in throughout our week or out our lives, then it just makes a world of a change.
Yeah. Well, thank you for everything you shared today. And as we get ready to close, how can folks get involved? Like, if you are listening to this and they want to come on the 4th, like, is there a website or there a social media? Like, how can people connect with you or the cause itself?
I think like right now I'm probably just going to give my phone number, if that's cool.
Well, that's up to you.
Don't make me regret this, people. That's fine.
Send her a text.
So my cell phone number is 740-202-0421. And that's the easiest way. And I can send you the information and everything else like that. If you are looking, I do know a lot of people in Columbus. I can send you to the right way, of people who may have some job openings, things like that. But yes, definitely please RSVP to the event if you're wanting to learn, more information.
Yes, come to the conference. I think it would be really great to make connections and learn a little bit more about the fields and different fields. It's not just construction.
Right.
People come from different career paths. So I feel like it would be really a networking opportunity.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And it's a great time. And you get free stuff. So, like, it's free.
Can't
it's
beat
free.
that. And it's at the zoo.
Come have fun.
It's at the zoo.
Yes. and we're going to have animal encounters, too. So I'm really hoping for a sloth. I'm really hoping for a sloth.
I love
Help her make that happen if you have the connection.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Jessi, for being here with us today. I feel like we could have dived into so many additional topics. So we'll definitely have to have you back for sure. But is there anything you want to share with our listeners before we officially wrap for today's episode?
Just do not forget who you are. You are amazing and you got this. And do not let anybody tell you different, no matter if they're family or friends or a total stranger. You got this. And I believe in you. If nobody else does, I may not even know you or anything else, but I know that you can do this. I know you can do the hard things in life. It is scary. It is uncomfortable. There's fear and uncertainty, but you can do it. I know you can do it.
Yes. And with that, as we always love to close here at the end of our podcast with our amazing guest, we'll count to 3.
It's bigger than you.
It's because it is.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for listening today. We're excited and we hope that you follow us on
Instagram, True Print for Life, YouTube channel, also True Print for Life. And make sure that you share, like, watch our videos. Make sure that you follow us on all streaming platforms.